The Mountain is a creepypasta story that's told in the form of a recording. Kind of like the movie The Blair Witch Project or Paranormal Activity. Basically, any found footage horror film or film in general. This is kind of how this one goes. And I think that's probably the most unique thing about it. As far as the plot goes, a couple of college kids, or around that age, record themselves talking about climbing some mountain that no one has ever come back from or attempted to climb or whatever. They want to make a name for themselves, or one of them does. Their names are Scott and Jason, and Scott's the one who's pretty ambitious and wants to climb this mountain and kind of name it after himself, even though Jason won't let him. He wants the credit too, as most people would. Now, Scott's recording a lot of things on his phone, and it kind of skips here and there between days or hours. So they talk about how there's a group of people that resemble monks or Tibetans. They don't seem to be okay with these two of them on the mountain. They both get told to turn around and leave because they don't respect the mountain. And there's some kind of curse or something that follows. But like a dumbass, Scott says no and gets very stubborn and says, nope, I'm going to go, blah, blah. Jason's the one who's trying to preach, saying that they should probably just turn around and that it's not worth it. But like I said, Scott wanted to keep going. So they make the mistake of continuing to climb on this mountain. They see some other people on the mountain, or what resemble people. Jason wants to go get them to make sure they're not lost, and maybe they can all get down off the mountain together. So he tells Scott to hold on to a rope that they brought, just so Jason doesn't get lost. Well, apparently there's some tugging and pulling, and then all of a sudden Jason disappears, leaving Scott by himself. Scott opens his phone back up and starts recording, talking about how it's been about 3 hours, and Jason still hasn't returned. He goes to look for Jason, finds some creepy-looking bear cave of some sort, and he finds Jason in pretty bad shape. He goes to free Jason, but then they're both attacked by something. I'm guessing it's what put Jason in the mountain in the first place, and the recording just abruptly stops. The story ends with the same recording that's at the beginning, basically explaining that this whole thing was written off as a hoax. But it says that Jason and Scott's bodies were never found, so they're still classified as missing. While this isn't the most scariest creepypasta, I think the format in which it was made is probably the best thing going. It reminds me a lot of the movie The Devil's Pass, which I'm not that big a fan of. I'm not really the biggest fan of found footage films, so that could have to do with it. This is not by any means a bad creepypasta. I don't want the author to be offended by what I'm saying. I just don't think it's one of the best. I recommend checking it out just for the novelty of the unsettling feeling of what could be someone's last moment. Obviously, this is just a story, but I would say if you like found footage films, if that's up your alley, then this is a story for you. If you're not, you can take it or leave it. Not bad, just okay.